There we go. Going live. I think I figured it out, guys. What's up, everyone that is on the stream? Can you hear me? I believe I set up everything correctly, but just to make sure, type in the comments if you can hear me in terms of like volume. TikTok, yes, I got a like. I don't know. Can anyone type anything? We can indeed hear you. On what, TikTok or YouTube? Try to do both at the same time. Sweet. So, all right. Well, we got 3 people. You can hear me, hopefully clearly on both platforms. I'm on live on TikTok as well for the people on YouTube, and for the people on TikTok, I'm on YouTube. If you do have YouTube, I would love it if you guys joined on the YouTube stream from TikTok, but if not, we'll do both. So I guess just to start off, if anyone has like any questions or just like, topics that you want me to cover in the future, I have my whiteboard now. So what I plan on doing is writing down some topics that you guys want me to cover in the future. That way, I'm kind of creating my content around you guys instead of kind of picking things randomly. Want to kind of niche down into what specifically you guys are looking for. Or you can just ask questions on anything. I'm an open book. I know. Let's see what happened in the markets today. And like I said, anytime you can just ask questions and I will try to answer them. Kyle, you got anything? How'd you learn stocks in the beginning? Okay, question from TikTok. So my story pretty much begins in high school. I was lucky enough to be gifted some stocks when I was in high school. And so really I got interested when I was receiving some dividend checks, and, it was like $100 or something here and there. And I was like, wow, this is pretty amazing. I'm getting paid to not really do anything other than I'm literally just receiving checks. So I basically got involved with learning about the markets, learning about different companies at that point. What's interesting is the fact that my first investment ever was my worst investment ever. I was trying to decide between investing in a company called Netflix or a company called Blockbuster. And I ended up going with Blockbuster because I was a complete idiot and I thought it had more potential with the reversal. Basically, they were absolutely crashing. And I thought I was a genius by investing in essentially what was a penny stock at the time instead of investing in the forward-looking company. But because I knew Blockbuster better, I invested in that. But I am actually happy that I made that investment just because I learned so much from it, that it's paid off a lot more dividends when you're investing at a younger age and you make a mistake like that. Hopefully you learn from it, and that way you save money when you actually have some serious cash to invest. But yeah, that's kind of how I got involved. High school and then in college, finance and accounting major. So obviously, classes around investments specifically for finance, and then having that accounting background, being able to read through the financial statements and understand what's going on. Let's see, Kyle, do you think the market is pricing in changes in consumer behavior that are going to take place in the next year? It's interesting. I saw Amazon today hit an all-time high, I believe, an all-time 52-week high. So that's definitely contributing the contributing factor there is definitely the fact that everyone's at home, and Amazon as a company is actually seeing increased demand because people aren't shopping in their normal, situations where they're going to the grocery store. People are relying more on the online services. Like for today, I actually had my groceries shipped for the first time, which was interesting. It was relatively easy, not that much more expensive. I think it was a free trial through Shipped if you've ever used it. And I feel like the consumer behaviors will be affected by this period in time. Not even consumer behaviors, but the way businesses operate. From my standpoint, like the company I work for, I'm working remotely 100%. So before this, I was going into the office, and through this experience, we kind of realized that, hey, maybe we can switch to more of a model where not everyone needs to be going into an office to work. You can get by with remote work. But great question, Kyle. I definitely feel like people's behavior is being affected. Also, travel industry, I feel like will take a little bit longer to bounce back, just because I feel like myself and everyone else is kind of being more cautious when it comes to just your overall safety. So we'll see how that plays out. Sorry, I see I am answering these questions as best as I can. Do you think that the cruise lines will survive the crash? And what do you think about Buffett selling Delta? Is your job related to investing? So to answer your question, to Jabbar, so my job is a senior financial analyst. It's not specific to investing. I am more involved in the cost accounting side. So I work at a plant environment. So really, I'm focused on getting the lowest cost per pound for our product and working with the plant to improve operations. So I work a lot with like budgeting, forecasting, costing out capital projects. So is my job related specifically to investing? No, but I consider investing in everything to do with the markets more of a hobby and a passion of mine. And then I do have the background in finance and accounting. And then to answer your question about, do you think that cruise lines will survive the crash? I think that's a tough question. I feel like if this crisis lasts longer than 3 to 4 months, yes. I think they'll go into bankruptcy. But the fact that, I saw, I forget which cruise line, but one of them actually offered new shares for people to purchase. And I believe like Saudi Arabia, or yeah, I believe it was Saudi Arabia that actually ended up buying some of that cruise line. They were able to raise cash via issuing more shares. So you can just dilute your current shareholders to raise cash. And then you can also go to the bond market. So with the interest rates so low right now, so they did, okay. Yeah, so they bought 8%. So when they do that, they're diluting the rest of the shareholders, but that's giving them more time to catch up in terms of kind of cutting those costs to the point where they're not just bleeding money every month. So I feel like I said, 4 to 6 months, if it's in that range, those companies are going to have to continue to raise cash, either via the debt market, or they're going to have to, continue to issue shares. So, Thomas, to answer your question, opinions about the oil market. Yeah, it's interesting. I made a TikTok about the oil reduction. The OPEC and other oil producing countries basically came together and cut production. But honestly, I don't think that production cut is going to mean too much if the demand side related to just the global economy is slowing down. And even with that production cut, I don't think it, overshadows the impact that we've seen on the demand side. So when it comes to oil companies, I have a couple shares of like ExxonMobil, which I'm not going to sell. I'm really just going to hold on to them. But I don't think that I'm not bullish on oil at this time. Similar to the reason I'm not bullish on the travel industry, it's really just because the slowdown in the economy is going to have the most impact on oil, travel, any service industry where you have to be in person. They're all going to take a hit. So for me, I would rather invest in companies that aren't as affected or actually are seeing increased demand because of the whole situation going on. Like I was saying, Amazon, Microsoft, basically a lot of tech companies that aren't as affected by everything that's going on. And I'm actually hopping back to what Dijabar was saying about Buffett selling Delta. I actually made a video on that. And someone made a great comment that if you own more than 10% of a company, you have to basically show or share with the SEC any of your purchases in and out. So in a way, he could be trying to hide kind of what he's doing because he doesn't want to project out if he's buying more or selling more. So by keeping under 10%, he doesn't have to release every single move he's making in either purchasing or selling more shares. And then I think he's just reducing his risk. So he didn't sell out of all of his position. He just reduced it in order to not own too much of the company. And really, I feel like it's not that big of a deal that he sold because, like I said, he didn't sell everything. He just sold a certain percentage to bring down his ownership of the company around 10% or a little under. How should a company's outstanding shares? Oh, wait, Regina, you can ask your question. I don't know what the question is. Billy, how should a company's outstanding shares factor to an investment, if at all? So I don't think the amount of outstanding shares really matters too much. If you think about it, let's say if a company has 1 million shares versus a company having 2 million shares, it doesn't matter. Other than, I guess, voting rights. But if we're talking about, like 100 million shares versus 120 million, the company that has 100 million shares isn't any better than the one with 120. Really, that's just kind of the liquidity piece on the firm. So, I mean, if you have 2 shares trading, obviously it's going to cause liquidity issues with like buying in and out, and like one person basically owns the company. So unless we're talking about really small number of outstanding shares, it doesn't matter too much. Any book recommendations? So for me, I haven't read too many investing books. I'm still in the middle of The Intelligent Investor, which seems to be good. Other than some of the information is a little outdated, but the overall philosophy of kind of investing in companies and ignoring hype or ignoring kind of your emotions, pretty good. In terms of like personal finance, Rich Dad Poor Dad was an interesting read. It gives you a good overall idea of personal finance, kind of like assets before or versus liabilities, but it's not anything groundbreaking. But if you're just getting started, the stories are interesting, and he definitely is able to captivate the audience. So he's a good storyteller. The information itself is pretty basic, but it's still good. Yeah, these are great questions, guys. Okay, I've been ignoring TikTok, so I'm going to look over here. Oh my God, there is a ton of questions that I missed. And if you guys on TikTok want to get your questions answered probably faster, like I said, I'm doing a YouTube live. So you can ask there, and it's probably easier to see. There's less people here, only 5. Okay, let's see. Will there be space tourism companies soon? I don't think anytime soon we'll see like normal people flying up into space. I mean, we have Virgin Galactic, but I think that's an industry that has some development. Just because I mean the cost is still insane. So pretty much, if you're loaded, you could take a flight up, see the world, and then come back down. But I don't think it's going to be anything booming in the near term. Sorry, I'm reading through all these messages. Hey, how's your day going? Day's going good. Yeah, good weekend. Nice 3-day weekend. Happy Easter to everyone. Belated Easter. But my day was good. Yeah, no issues. Can you have a good income by just stock trading, or do you think we should have it as a side thing? My big opinion is it should be more of a side thing. If you're referring to day trading and things like that, it's not an endeavor that most people can succeed in. It's something that requires either a lot of capital, so you're not taking outrageous risk. So, if you have $1 million to trade or play with, sure, it's a little easier to take some risk, or you don't have to take as much risk in order to get like a nominal return. But if someone's playing with $1,000 and they're trying to, I don't know, make $1,000 a week, obviously, in order to do that, you have to take huge gambles and you have to take extensive risk in order to get those gains that you're looking for. So to answer your question, if you're still here, Hanan Nugent, I would avoid day trading and really stick to getting that income side up. If you guys don't follow Logical Finance, you definitely should on TikTok. But he had a video about two people, one getting a little bit more income to just invest versus someone that basically had more time, and instead of getting more income, they decided to study the markets and get a higher return. If you're only getting a small amount higher than the market average, you're better off just focusing on income and investing that extra income into the market versus spending all your time trying to get like 2% extra. Top 3 favorite music artists. Go. 21 Pilots. I like them. Youngblood. He's also really good. And I would say Blink 182. No, I take back Blink 182. Definitely Post Malone. Post Malone's awesome. Accounting, we're evaluating decentralized operations for Chapter 24. How old are you? You look 20. I look 20? I'll take it. I'm 26. But I've been told I look young. If I get rid of this beard, I got the baby face going. So, yeah, I could pull off. Basically, if I shave this, I shave like 4 years off me. What's up, John? Yo, dude. Hope you had a great Easter. You too, man. Let's see. What do you think? Okay, answered that. Okay, someone's asking about Bitcoin. So let's talk about that. So with Bitcoin, I was going to make a video about it, but we can talk about a little bit about Bitcoin here. So the halvening is going to happen sometime in May. And so if you guys aren't aware of what the halvening is it's pretty much a supply shock, or not a supply shock, but basically a reduction in issuance of new Bitcoin when a miner is confirming that a transaction is valid and adding it to the basically transactions to the blockchain. They're rewarded with Bitcoin for basically keeping the network safe. And so with the halvening, you have a reduction in that Bitcoin issuance. So basically you'll have going from, I think it's like, I don't know the exact numbers, but like 8 Bitcoins being generated for that, I guess, that task to 4. So that halving should theoretically reduce the supply side of Bitcoin. And if demand side stays the same, you should see a increase in price. So it'll be interesting to play out. Personally, my speculation or my estimate of where Bitcoin is in 2021, I think we hit 20,000 at some point in 2021. And I've mentioned this before, but I do have a asset allocation to very risky, very speculative, I would say, bets. And one of those is Bitcoin and Ethereum for me. So cryptocurrency is, I have an allocation of my investments to that. The reason being, one, it serves as a hedge to hyperinflation or inflation to our current currency. So with the US dollar, if we're continuing to just print money, the value of the dollar should come down. Right now, we're not really seeing that just because it's a reserve currency. Pretty much the US can just print dollars and there's no consequences. That's what it seems like. But at some point that may catch up with us. So we'll see if that's the case where we can just keep on printing dollars. But so one, Bitcoin's a hedge for me. And then two, Bitcoin, I believe the risk reward is pretty good. So that's why I allocate like a smaller percentage of my investments to Bitcoin. And like I said, it is very speculative. So if you don't have a lot of money to risk or your risk tolerance is low, don't even look at cryptocurrency. What do I talked about oil? What was your view on? So Declan Colon was asking about Tesla's rise today. So I think Tesla was up like 13 or 14% today, which is absolutely nuts because there was no news. The stock of like Tesla stock does not need any news to go up or down. I don't think there was any news. And what's crazy about Tesla is it's a car company, right? I mean, yes, everyone talks about, future growth is priced into the stock, and, Elon Musk is a genius, which I agree he's a genius. But at the end of the day, what they're selling right now is mostly cars. And the fact that, with the situation that we're currently in, the market for luxury cars, I imagine, is going down. The plants aren't even running, so they're not making cars. They're going to be behind on production, and the stock is up for 14%. So I believe Tesla is an absolute meme stock. And when I say meme stock, I mean there is no connection to fundamentals with the price. So Tesla could literally be, going bankrupt, and Elon Musk could tweet like he invented teleportation, and the stock would go up, 20%. It just doesn't make any sense. Not that I'm knocking Tesla. I think if it gets below like 300 or around 300, I may dabble in it on the speculative side. But for now, I mean, I'm not touching it. $650. Yeah, no, I'm not touching it on the short side, on the long side. It has no connection to news. I don't know how anyone can try to trade that, or unless you're just blindly throwing money at Elon Musk and, backing the company, then maybe you can buy it. What is your favorite stock at today's closing price? That would have been a better question a couple weeks ago. Like March 23rd, I was really excited about all the stocks I was buying. We bounced back a little bit, so I don't love anything right now in terms of like the price, but I was trying to add a lot to my Microsoft position. But the recent couple weeks, we've been a pretty big bounce back in the market, so it's not as attractive. So I'm trying to catch up to all these. I'm going through them. I see there's 45 messages. So I'm trying to read through them. Do you do any options trading? I do. I mostly do hedging, or I trade spreads. So I do credit call spreads, credit put spreads. And right now I'm doing that just because of the high implied volatility situation that we're in. And if we get implied volatility contraction, those option spreads should make money, even if we stay kind of going sideways. Or obviously I have directional bias as well. Why is the dollar so overvalued? I don't know. I do not know. Getting money from 401k to buy stocks. Not sure what that means. Sold my 3 Tesla shares. Okay. Unless I just skipped a ton of questions. I love a girl with a great asset allocation of stocks and bonds. Yeah, I had a lot of fun making that video. Okay, trying to read through the questions. How do you feel about buying into airline stocks? Kind of similar to oil, travel. I'm hesitant with airlines, waiting for a little bit of stabilization. Oil, talked about that. Do I have any altcoins? No, unless you consider Ethereum an altcoin, I pretty much don't. I pretty much own Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's like 98% of my crypto. What's your opinion on holding off buying for a couple weeks? I don't hate it. I feel like for me, short term, I'm slightly bearish, but over the long term, I'm bullish. So I'm continuing to buy, but by no means am I like aggressively buying. I am not, throwing every single spare dollar at the market. So for me, it's more of cautious buying / if you're doing your weekly contribution to your 401k, continue to do that. In terms of taking extra money out of like an opportunity fund or reducing your emergency fund to invest in the market, I'm not doing that yet. I feel like if we do get to those levels where under 2,000 in the S&P 500, like that's where I'd be more implied to start aggressively investing. But at these levels, like I'm just kind of neutral. Just buying, but I'm not aggressively buying, and I'm not buying speculative companies. Like today, I bought VDC, which is a ETF for consumer staples. So obviously, with the consumer staples ETF, like I'm playing it very defensive. I'm not going out and buying Tesla, or I'm not trying to pick the bottom of these airline stocks because no one knows if they go bankrupt or if things turn around and they jump 50%. It's boom or bust. So great question, S. Phillips. And back to YouTube video or video live. Any calls or puts recommendations for tomorrow? No, I don't really do any call outs or any like weekly trading. Right now, honestly, if I'm going to be doing any trading of any type, like swing trading or anything like that, I'm going to be doing it via like an S&P 500 ETF, just because it's so liquid. And like I'm not trading any specific stocks when I'm talking about my option trading or anything like that. I'm specifically looking at index ETFs, so SPY, VOO, VTI, basically anything that covers the whole market. I would rather trade that when volatility is pretty good across everything. And Thomas, hopefully I answered your question. I don't think we've reached a bottom. Like I said, cautiously, I'm just buying every week. just like the normal amount I've allotted, but I am not aggressively buying because I don't think we've hit the bottom. And I still have some hedges on to the downside. So, yeah, I don't think we have. Back to TikTok. Oh, and if you are on TikTok, just a shout out or a call out. I am making more videos on YouTube. So if you do enjoy my content on TikTok, hop on over to YouTube and subscribe. It would help a lot with getting some more people on the YouTube platform as well, just to check out some of my longer format videos. Tesla doesn't even have a positive cash flow. I think it's going to be a disaster. But the thing about Tesla is they can just keep on diluting the shares. They can do secondary offerings, and everyone gives them the benefit of the doubt until the day Tesla like really screws up, and they keep on over delivering on car deliveries, and people keep on projecting out huge future growth. They'll get the benefit of the doubt like Amazon. Doesn't matter. Getting money sold. Okay. Already subscribed on YouTube. Thank you, California man. I notice, yeah, you're always engaged with my content, so I appreciate that, man. Tactic buddy, I have 230 GE at 1054. Should I sell? Currently, it's trading at 703. I mean, at the end of the day, it's up to you if you want to sell or not. I'm not a buyer of GE. Just with the recent management and the way they've handled the company and the amount of debt that they have. They slashed their dividend. I mean, the company's a little bit of a mess. And for me, I've learned my lesson. At the beginning of this video, I was talking about, when you're starting out investing, you want to make sure that you're learning from your mistakes. And one of those mistakes is trying to invest in companies that are trying to turn around. Why invest in companies that are trying to turn around when you can invest in a company that's already innovating, that's already doing great, is already printing money, has increased revenues, is very future forward looking. Like it doesn't make sense for me to try to bottom pick. So for me, I wouldn't be buying. It's up to you if you want to sell. Subscribe to the YouTube. Thanks, John. Would you recommend buy contracts expiring 2022? They're dirt cheap and high chance the economy rebounds by then. Yeah, some leaps. I mean, what are you buying them on? Are you buying them on like the index? I wouldn't buy them on specific companies, but if they're super cheap, if what you're considering is cheap, I don't know. Volatility is pretty high right now, so I don't know if future calls are dirt cheap right now. I'd have to look, but I don't hate it. I'm in 2022 with the amount of stimulus we have going into the economy, and if we do see this whole situation correct in terms of just getting back to normalcy, 2022. I think it's not a bad play. See emerge. Do you copy other investors' moves? Do you mean copying like Warren Buffett or people like that? For the most part, I don't. If I have an investment in the same company as him, like that's kind of reassuring. But in terms of just like absolutely copying, I mean, if I wanted to copy someone like Warren Buffett, I would just buy her Berkshire Hathaway, just some stock in it. What's your view on JNUG? So with JNUG, I know that's the leverage ETF for gold miners. Correct me if I'm wrong. Don't love it. I made a video about leverage ETFs with beta slippage and the amount of risk that you're taking. As a long-term investment, I wouldn't touch it. For day trading, sure, you can use it. Okay, let's go back to YouTube. What's up, YouTube people? So questions on YouTube from Billy Van Dyke. Small caps VB have a history of rebounding after steep declines. Any opinions on this for the near future? Yeah, I mean, small caps in general will return the highest amount. And I think, they'll crash harder, right? But they'll also bounce back, and over the long term, they have the highest growth potential. So in terms of calling the bottom, if you can do that magically, then yes, small caps is the way to be. So for me, what I would do is, as I felt like I was closer to a top, I would be investing more in like large cap defensive stocks. And then as we've come down, I would agree with you that yes, you should be buying more speculative plays kind of near when you think the bottom has been reached, or kind of after we start to pick up, we've hit the trough and we're coming back up. That's when you try to scoop up those small caps. Is it a good time to buy gold? I don't buy gold. For me, my gold would be Bitcoin. I'm not trying to shill anything. I kind of talked about Bitcoin earlier in this live, kind of why I see it as a benefit, but I would not be buying gold, only because there's a lot of carrying costs. In terms of like actually using it as a currency, not really a chance. So pretty much it's only going to be used as like a store of value. So as long as people believe in it, it's Yoitzming. What's up, Marcus? So really, I'm not a buyer of gold, but I understand if you want like inflation risk, you can buy some gold. But for me, I dabble in Bitcoin instead of gold. How about, okay, let's look. Okay, Marcus, you asked, I make 20K a year, save 11K a year. It can be done, folks. Wow. Yeah, that's a pretty solid savings rate. Yeah, you can definitely, if you can save that amount with that salary, anyone can up that savings rate. I made a video about, being a realistic millionaire in over like 30 years. And a lot of people said, it was unrealistic to save 20%. And I understand everyone's situation is different, but if you really think about it, there's usually expenses that you can cut. Now, for the people making, $5,000 a year or $10,000 a year, yeah, obviously, you have to increase your income. There's no way you're going to be able to invest. Have you ever started a company? So I haven't. Honestly, I'm being honest with you guys, this would be Main Street Wolf would be the first company that I would consider starting. And for some of you may say, well, it's not really a company, and like right now it's just TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, pretty much just like content creation. And some people wouldn't say that's a company, and I would agree. But what I want to form it into in the future is an actual company where it's a educational platform, and it's kind of like Codecademy, if you guys have ever heard of Codecademy. But it's basically where you can hop on the website, learn everything to do with personal finance, investing, things like that, and through courses. But the courses don't cost you anything. So I don't really like the model that people, will sell like a $1,200 course for learning what can be learned for free on the internet. So no, I don't have a company yet, but I want to morph Main Street Wolf into an actual company. I just skipped a bunch of questions. One question, what banks do you use? And what's interesting is I'm trying to set up a Chase banking account. That way I can track my P&L better here. So I use Chase, Marcus. Pretty much have used Chase since college. I have no complaints with the bank. They were the first ones to get on with like the mobile app. And they realized that people don't really want to go, or you don't need to go to the bank in order to actually do your banking. So I've had no issues with Chase. I even purchased, I own stock in Chase. I think it's a good company. And I feel like from one of the big banks, they're pretty innovative and they're good with technology. How about UNH? I don't know anything about UNH. AT&T, I like AT&T. Good dividend. Is Wall Street Prep worth the 500? Oh my God, what is $500? That's what I was talking about. Basically, like all the people that sell these courses for like $1,000, it's just, I think it's highway robbery. I mean, I don't know if, what they're offering is that amazing, but something tells me they're scamming people. Finally have extra money to start now. Good reads. I was saying The Intelligent Investor is good for like value investing, but for me, I haven't read too many books, so I can't recommend too many good reads. For me, it was more of learning through school, learning through just experience, and learning through articles. So yeah, I would just do a quick Google search. But I'll have to probably read more books in order to give like a better answer on that, because I do get that question a lot. Opinions about Fibonacci retracements. Yeah, I mean, do you have any questions for me, Marcus? No. Oh, well, I do have a question. So I guess this is for Marcus Fry. So is there any topics that you'd like me to cover coming up? I can add it to the whiteboard in order to make a TikTok on it, or I guess any other features that you'd like to see. If anyone hasn't yet, they can also join my Discord, where I have more topics, and it's actually it's a great community. I know some of the guys on the live right now are coming from Discord, but you kind of see people talking about different things, talking about the market, and it's a good place to just get involved with. Credit cards. I love credit cards. Such fast moving industry. Yeah, I mean, I like to own the credit card companies. I don't know about loving credit cards, unless you're talking about churning, which is interesting because I haven't done churning, but it's definitely something I would consider. The only thing is it's kind of it's an impact to your short-term credit, but I don't know if you can get those bonuses and then cancel the credit cards. I mean, it's basically free money. You got to churn. Do you churn? See, then you can teach me about churning. Do you do what is the guy's name? The points guy? No, don't cancel. Do you just keep all the credit cards? See, I don't want to keep the credit cards that have annual fees because that's how they get you. They give you that upfront bonus and then in hopes of collecting the annual fee for like 10 years and boom, they made their money on you. Where can you find financial statements for European companies? That I don't know. I can tell you for US companies, it's pretty much you can just Google search like a 10K or a 10Q, but for European companies, I don't know. Oh heck yeah, I have 23 active cards and like 50 authorized. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. 50 cards, that's crazy. I mean the thing though, the cards that don't have annual fees don't have that big of a payout. I don't think they do. I don't know. Yeah. Help out my family's credit score. That's good. Okay, back to TikTok. What do we got? Delta. Gear towards brand new investors every once in a while. Yeah, I realize that. See, my problem is I start to get too technical, and I realize when I'm YouTube probably should be a little bit more technical. I can do beginner friendly as well, but like TikTok, I realize a majority of people probably I'm getting too technical with, so I'll try to mix in more beginner friendly vocab. Vocab TikTok's helpful. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I should make some more of those. Would you be able to do a good video on finding some smaller stocks that aren't talked about a lot? See, that's not my forte. I tend to avoid the small caps because I'm looking for companies that are a little bit more established, a little bit more predictable. So I don't really invest in small cap stocks. So I'm probably not the right person to follow for that advice. If the technical is okay, I look things up if needed. Yeah, I'll try to mix it up. Um, like I said, I try to keep a mix between, educational, funny, technical, large audience, personal finance, crypto, kind of everything. Do you like the show Billions? I've never seen it. Is it good? I don't know. I've never seen the show Billions. I feel like I missed a stock. Any other questions? I only have, well, not only for the 7 people on YouTube. Any other questions? Trying to switch between TikTok and YouTube. Doing dual. I need to be able to figure out how to share my screen on this thing. That'd be cool. Don't you think? I'm all in for X Lord. Who's X Lord? Billions is Love on Showtime. And well, have you watched The Big Short? I have watched The Big Short. Good movie. And I have watched Wolf of Wall Street. Well, I mean, my name's Main Street Wolf, so there's a little influence there. Is it a bad idea to invest in the industry you work? No, I don't think so. It's bad to invest too much of your money in the company you work for. You don't want to invest too much because you're taking on too much risk by having your job and your investments be tied to the same company. So if you can, you want to avoid that. How old are you? I'm 26. I do not do day trading. What is good oil ticker? I've been saying VDE if you want to get an oil. I don't usually do specific oil companies. I mean, I like I said, I have Exxon, like Chevron's not bad. Basically, like I focus more on the bigger players. But if you want exposure to kind of all the oil companies, I would check out VDE. Please do more top 4 stock pick videos. I don't think I've ever done those. Investing into Disney. I like Disney. Long term, I think that, I mean, obviously, I think they bounce back. In terms of content, I mean, they're kings. So I believe that a lot of these media companies, whoever owns the best content, will do fine. So like AT&T, I think will do all right. Disney, like AT&T, they have HBO, Warner Brothers, DirecTV. Well, that's not really content, but I just know they own a lot of the media and content out there. Netflix, so as long as their strategy's been trying to create better content as well, because a lot of these companies realize the technology side of things, it's all all the same now. Like no one has a competitive advantage. So it's all about who can make the best content, and then like the delivery of that content, everyone's the same. So Disney, what's interesting, like Disney Plus should be exciting. They announced, I think it was 50 million subscribers. So obviously when they first started, it was like 10 million. So I mean, their growth is pretty exponential. So I like Disney. What age did you start investing? Like high school, and then I obviously once I graduated from college, I had more money to invest. So have been involved with the markets or paying attention for since high school, but throwing more money into the markets and really get serious about investing like right after I graduated. You need some soft background music, bro. That's a good point. And I didn't think of that, but I don't know if YouTube will allow me to. Yeah, if you thanks, Marcus. Yeah, if you guys can drop a like, that'd be great on the video. I don't know if it does anything. I'll probably leave this live on my YouTube videos, just because if anyone wants to watch a replay of it. You need, yeah. So I don't know about the background music, Marcus, just because if I do play music, I'm not sure if it will just delete it or if it will red flag it or what. I work in hotel and tourism, and I'm really watching the cruise lines right now. They're very attractive to me. Thoughts? Earlier in the this is for Melissa Trainer. So earlier in the live, I was talking about the cruise lines and how it really depends on how long the situation lasts. 4 to 6 months, I think they're in trouble. If we get turned around in like 2 months, I think they can survive. And then for coming back at like the end of the year, but it's definitely a risky trade. Risk reward, it's pretty much boom or bust. It's whether or not they're going to go bankrupt or they survive and then they look all right. Do you own stocks in the company you work for? I do not own stock in the company I work for. Maybe I do indirectly because the company I work for is a Fortune 500. So indirectly, I probably own some of it through like the S&P 500, or actually like the VDC. I know a portion of my company is in that fund. So yeah, I probably own some, but not, a crazy percentage. Right now, the no sale order is 100 days. Yeah, so like that's going to hurt. Obviously, they can't. So like I said, about 3 months, right? So that's probably expected anyway, that not a lot of people are going to go back to cruise lines. So I'm thinking more of, is this extended 6 to 9 months? Do you think Tesla will go back to 300? I hope so. That way I can scoop some up. But I feel like it won't unless the market starts crashing again. If the market starts crashing again, maybe you can pick up some Tesla at 300. Do you do any? What are your top 5 ETF? Make sure you are getting S&P 500. Yeah, a great website if you're looking for ETFs. Just go to the Vanguard website, and they have by sector. They have by the size of the companies. They have bonds. They have kind of the risk that you want to take, low risk versus high risk, high yield, low yield, dividend growth. They pretty much have like every ETF. And the reason I go to Vanguard is because all the expense ratios are very small. So definitely, something good to go check out. So I'm going to answer a couple more questions and then wrap this up. It's been close to an hour. So we're going to do a couple more questions, and then I'll probably hop off this live. So what is Bitcoin mining? So Bitcoin mining is really computers out there that are protecting the network and validating transactions on the Bitcoin blockchain. So you have a group of transactions that, like, if I send you Bitcoin, that transaction goes to basically the miners, who takes that transaction, validates that I own that Bitcoin, and I can actually send it to you. Once they validate that, they all try to compete to basically figure out this advanced algorithm, and whoever completes it is awarded Bitcoin, and then they're allowed to attach that blockchain onto the previous blockchain, which had all the transactions, and then it's just like ongoing chain. That's why they call it a blockchain. It's one block onto the other. Do you have any opinion on companies used for new investor? For me, I mean, a lot of them are the same. I use Robinhood, Webull, Fidelity. I've used TD Ameritrade in the past. I've used Tastyworks. If you follow Tasty Trade at all. Thoughts about the market opening tomorrow? I don't know. I'd have to look at the futures. But really no opinion on, like I said, day to day it's kind of hard. I focus more on if I'm doing any type of trading, swing trading, and really I'm looking out a month, couple months. Day to day it's pretty tough. Things can come out of the left field, and no one knows day to day. Do you think we should be worried about the mortgage industry now that there's over 2 million that are forbearance on their mortgages? Yeah, real estate is interesting. I think we should be worried if this continues for more than a few months. Like, kind of like with a lot of the other stuff. I think we can get by with a couple months, but if this is prolonged, you'll start to see people not be able to afford their rent, and like we're already seeing it. We're seeing there's a certain percentage of people that can't afford it. So yes, I think there will be a hit to the real estate industry, and if you have the capital around, it may be a good time to get into real estate about 9 to 12 months from here. As a business major, what do you think would be a good sector to go into? I'm biased, but I would want to get into the tech sector if you can. It's very competitive, but I feel like we're constantly moving towards just every company being a tech company. So if you can get into the tech space, I think you're better off as a business major. Do you own any REITs? I do own VNQ. So it's a sector ETF, a REIT ETF from Vanguard, and it is the only REIT I own, but it has basically a bunch of different real estate companies. So I feel like I'm well diversified. Has a yield, I think in the mid threes right now. But yeah, for me, I do own VNQ. Okay, let's see. QQQ has. Yeah, so QQQ, if you are favoring tech, it's around 44.6% tech. Yeah, that's a good ETF to invest in. And I mean, it covers the index. All right, guys. I think that's going to probably wrap up the live. If you don't, like I said, if you want to drop a follow, if you're on TikTok, YouTube, if you want to follow me on YouTube, that'd be great. I do also want to pitch. So if you guys watch my Robinhood videos at all, I do have a Patreon where if you want to see more of my in-depth analysis of like my picks that I'm making on a weekly basis, or what my thoughts are behind like asset allocation or if you have more specific questions, you can go check out my Patreon and give it a look if you want. Obviously, you don't have to. I'll continue to make content anyways, continue to answer your questions on Discord, but that's just like an added thing that I'm throwing out there for anyone that is more interested on the kind of the analysis and why I'm putting on trades, or if they want to learn a little bit more on investing. So, like I said, if you want to check that out, it's on my Patreon. There's also one where you can direct message me with whatever questions you have. So appreciate you guys joining the live, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. And if you're not on my Discord, or if you don't know the Patreon, it's in my bio link, both on my Instagram and on the TikTok, as well as if you go on YouTube. So thanks again, guys. Appreciate the support, and thanks for joining the live. I will probably be doing a live. I'm planning on doing once a week. So this was pretty good. People were asking a lot of questions, and there's a lot of engagement. So I feel like this was a pretty good live. So thanks again, guys, and peace out.